Perfect. Okay. So, welcome to this chat on amino acids. I'm so grateful that you guys are here, whether you're joining tonight live or you are listening through recording. Um, I have been hosting wellness workshops ever since I started school to become a naturopath doctor. It's a 4-year program, and I am in year 2, which means I'm currently a natural health educator. And being a natural health educator, one of the requirements is to share what I am learning with you. So I am in no way, shape, or form a doctor. Everything that I say tonight is for educational purposes only. Everything that you will learn tonight may be a refresher for some of you, but I guarantee you're all going to learn something new. I will say one really great thing about this school that I'm going to is that any topic we've ever covered kind of blows my mind into the vast, deep dive of all the information that we learn. So it's really cool. And I would be doing everyone a disservice if I didn't share. So it's just really, really great information for you to have in your toolbox. A couple more housekeeping things. I told you it's being recorded, and I've been in the wellness space for 23 years. I started teaching fitness at Michigan State way back in 2000, the year 2000. So I'll be covering a lot of information. It's difficult to put into 90 minutes everything. So we're going to cover what we can, and then you guys can type your questions in the chat. You can reach out to me after with questions. I will be offering office hours starting in January 2024 for natural health consults, which I'm really excited about. That's hot off the presses. And that's an opportunity for you to meet with me and to ask, a deep dive into you, a deep dive into what's going on with you. So I'm not trying to sell you anything whatsoever. This is just to educate and enlighten and empower. Empower is a great word. Any supplements I talk about tonight are because of my own personal experience, things that I really love and I have personally used. So without further ado, I am going to share my screen with you, and you are going to have to, I hope you will forgive my messy screen. So let me figure out really quick. Share screen. Where'd you go? Oh, it's the big bright green one, Allie. Okay, share. Perfect. And then I'm going to pull up my presentation. There we go. Oh, Ryan is joining us. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to go back to this. Hello, Diane. Welcome to the chat. We're happy you're here. We are just getting started. So I see an adorable little panda talking, but I can't hear anything you're saying. So it might just kind of be, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good, perfect. Okay, so I just did a quick intro, and we haven't even started yet. So you are here just in time. If you and Tia have any questions, if you could write them down on a sheet of paper or in the chat section of Zoom, we'll answer all questions at the end. Sound good?
Okay.
Awesome. So glad you're here. I'm going to mute you. Great. Good. Okay. Beautiful. So thumbs up if everyone can see my screen. Or even in the chat, give me a thumbs up. Perfect. I see thumbs up. Good. Thumbs up. Perfect. All right. Cool. You can all see my screen. Okay. Great. So here we go. Now, I am going to, the way that I design this is I'm going to send this to you at the end. So if you're looking at this and the font seems small or the content seems like a lot, you guys are going to have this tool in your toolbox at the very end of the presentation. So that's a beautiful thing. Okay, so amino acids. Amino acids and brain function go hand in hand. Understanding brain function provides a more comprehensive picture of how to use various amino acids to effectively treat pain, stress, anxiety, and depression. 10 billion neurons, brain cells, need to be fed constantly. They need amino acids, vitamins, minerals, oxygen, and fatty acids. You can see why a healthy diet is so important. All of these nutrients are supplied to the brain through the bloodstream. If you take water and fat out of the body, 75% of the remainder is protein, aka amino acids, right? Amino acids are the building blocks of protein. Muscles, cell membranes, enzymes, and neurotransmitters are all protein. While virtually all organs and tissues of the body can burn either fat or sugar for fuel, the brain can only burn sugar, which is glucose, under normal non fasting conditions. This can be problematic because the brain cannot store sugar in its cells. So it depends on a second by second fuel delivery by the blood circulation through the brain. So you can also see why if we're not eating, that's not good. Our brain is requiring that fuel, right? Brains use 50% of all glucose in the bloodstream for fuel and 20% of all inhaled oxygen. Our reactions to everything we encounter all depend on the chemical language of the brain, the neurotransmitters. Too much or too little of any of these substances will make us under or overreact according to the stimulus. So if you hear a song, how you feel about that song or react to that song. If you get angry at a neighbor or a situation, too much or too little of the amino acids we have in our body can be affecting us and we don't even realize it. It's not really something that we talk about on a day-to-day basis. So that's why we're talking about it today. B6 is essential to convert all amino acids. I loved that nugget of information. I think that's so crucial for you guys to know. If there's one takeaway, B6, B6, B6. It's essential to convert all amino acids. As soon as I learned that, I got myself a B complex. So if you're not taking a B complex every day, I would recommend you do that. This is my, can you guys see me and the screen or just the screen?
Both.
Oh, good. Perfect. So this is my balanced B complex by Nature Sunshine. And it has B6, B12, folate, and all the essential B vitamins are in here. So important little nugget. Charlie's chiming in about B vitamins. Okay. So all the nearly 4,000 distinct proteins found in the human body are made from only 20 amino acids, broken down into essential and non-essential categories. So think about that for a second. 40,000 distinct proteins found, all made up of this circle of amino acids we're going to talk about tonight. Pretty important. Okay. And I promise you, I'm not going to read the whole time too. I'm just reading to you right now to get through because it's a lot of information. Okay, I thought this would be really important for you to know because we've all taken drugs. And I don't mean street drugs. I mean acetaminophen, pharmaceuticals. We've probably, I would venture to guess, we've probably all taken them. So I want you to really listen to this point because it might be something you've heard before, or it might be said in a way that you finally understand it. Drugs merely stimulate temporary excessive release of pre-existing neurotransmitter stores. Drugs that we take stimulate temporary excessive release of pre-existing neurotransmitter stores. They do not increase the production of the neurotransmitters in the brain. This fact explains why drugs often lose their effect over time with chronic use. Once pre-existing neurotransmitter stores are depleted, are exhausted, the drug is unable to stimulate further neurotransmitter release into the synapse between the neurons. I feel that this is a really important point to bring up to you so you understand how drugs work, because pharmaceuticals have their place in the world, right? Pharmaceuticals have been life-saving for so many of us. But if you're taking a pharmaceutical drug that's an antidepressant or an anti-anxiety. It's really good to know that. And I don't know if anybody has ever explained that to you. So, to augment nourishment of the brain when there are inadequate neurotransmitter levels, we need amino acids, vitamins, and minerals. So, hey, okay, I've been taking an antidepressant or an anti-anxiety for 20 years of my life. Why hasn't any doctor or any person told me that I should be taking amino acids, vitamins, and minerals in conjunction? Well, hopefully they have. Hopefully you are doing that. But if you're not, you're going to learn about that tonight. There's always hope when we talk about the things that we have been doing or have already done. So, where do we get amino acids? We all know, right? Protein. Where do we get vitamins and minerals? Well, you should be getting vitamins and minerals from fruits and veggies, organic fruits and veggies, because they haven't been sprayed, right, with the glyphosates or things that can harm our bodies. Okay. All right. So again, just continuing to read just for a little bit longer. Glutamine. Okay. Glutamine is one of the most plentiful amino acids in the brain. Okay. So glutamine provides a major alternative fuel source for the brain with low blood sugar levels. Amino acid glycine also helps alleviate sugar cravings or that mid-afternoon dip, right? We all know that mid-afternoon dip when we want to grab a Snickers bar. Well, maybe glycine is a part of that, right? Glutamine, going back to glutamine, one of the most plentiful amino acids in the brain, is also important as a precursor for GABA. And I wish I was sitting in front of you right now so we could all go around the room and talk about, have you heard of GABA? Have you used GABA? And maybe we can do that at the end because GABA was another light bulb moment for me. GABA and glutamine are essential for concentration, mood, and have been shown to improve ADHD. ADHD is rampant, right? We are in a time and an era where everybody's diagnosed with ADHD, whether you truly, truly have it or there's just a diagnosis because we can't concentrate due to technology, due to electromagnetic frequencies, due to red dye number 40. What's causing this ADHD? Well, GABA and glutamine are a part of that equation, okay? So the limbic system, if you've heard of the limbic system, contains the inhibitory neurotransmitters GABA, glutamine, glycine, and serotonin. Ooh, there's that word serotonin, which is our happy chemical, right? They modulate anxiety messages to the brain. All right, ready to have your mind blown? My mind was blown. Research documents the amygdala, which I have a picture here, the amygdala in the brain, was probably functioning at birth. Scientists postulate that your amygdala was functioning at birth. This could account for negative experiences of our inner child that remain in the amygdala as unresolved anxiety, anger, and fear. So I'll read that again. Research documents the amygdala is probably functioning at birth. This could account for negative experiences of our inner child that remain in the amygdala as unresolved anxiety, fear, and anger. So just kind of thinking about when we're in the womb and what's developing and what we're feeling and what we're thinking and what we're depleted in and what we're deficient in. It's a part of our molecules. It's a part of our cells from the minute that we're born, which is pretty astounding, but it also makes sense. A good book to understand more of this is Molecules in Motion by Dr. Candace Pert. That was a recommendation in my advanced muscle testing book. So all this information that I'm giving to you was given to me. Okay, so I'm sharing what I have learned. This is the limbic system, the brain right here. You've got the hypothalamus, the amygdala, that little raisin looking thing, right kind of behind the eye, it looks like, the hippocampus, the thalamus. These are all parts of your limbic system. Okay, I'm going to just kind of breeze through this. I'm not going to read it word for word. There's a total of 20 amino acids that comprise muscle protein. 9 of the 20 are considered essential, meaning they cannot be produced by the body. Muscle protein is in a constant state of turnover. We lift weights, we run, we do movement throughout the day. Muscle is turning over, right? It's turning over faster than we can even replenish. So protein synthesis is occurring continuously to replace protein lost as a consequence of that breakdown. And as you get older, what happens? As you get older, your muscle breaks down more and more and faster. And so that's why they say weight training is super important. Now you have the science behind and the reason behind why it's important to lift weights for your whole life. For synthesis of new muscle protein, all of the essential amino acids, along with the non-essential amino acids, can be produced in the body, but they must be present in adequate amounts. Okay, so we're going to touch briefly on branched chain amino acids. Okay, branched chain amino acids. Raise your hand or come off mute and say, I've heard of branched chain amino acids if you've heard of them. You guys heard of them? Okay, cool. We're learning something new. I like that. All right, perfect. Well, we'll dive into it. Go back to this screen. Okay, perfect. So branched chain amino acids. Now you're going to hear about them. You're going to find articles. Now that we've put it out to the universe, you're probably going to hear about them. And the acronym is BCAAs. Okay. So branched chain amino acids, leucine, isoleucine, and valine. Leucine, isoleucine, and valine. Those are the three. Okay. The sale of branched chain amino acids as nutritional supplements. Now we're going to get into that lean muscle and fat burning part of the talk that I originally kind of made that was the topic. There is a whole industry, a multi-million-dollar business at the center of branched chain amino acids. So, sorry, just one second. Okay. As Colette would say, she's barking at the night squirrels. You gotta stop barking, girl. We're talking about branched chain amino acids, okay? All right, she's gonna join us. So the sale of branched chain amino acids is this, it's this big multi-million-dollar business. So at the center of marketing these products is a widely believed claim that consumption of branched chain amino acids stimulates muscle protein synthesis. And as a result, it elicits anabolic response. Okay, so I did my homework and I went through several studies to see, is this true? Do branched chain amino acids, I have some right here, BioSteel branched chain amino acids, okay? So you put these in your water. My kids take these after hockey, after soccer. Branched chain amino acids, remember, now you know, it's leucine, isoleucine, valine, and they also have glutamine in here. Does it actually help with muscle synthesis and muscle repair? Okay, we want to know. So, one study concluded that the efficiency of reincorporating essential amino acids from protein breakdown back into muscle can only be increased to a limited extent. For this fundamental reason, a dietary supplement of branched chain amino acids alone cannot support an increased rate of muscle protein synthesis. The availability of the other essential amino acids will rapidly become rate limiting for an accelerated protein synthesis. Consistent with this perspective, the few studies in human subjects have reported decreases rather than increases, blah, 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 blah. If you click this link, it'll take you to the whole complete study. But here's the key takeaway, okay? Here's the good news. If you take branched chain amino acids after a workout, before a workout, daily, to stimulate muscle protein synthesis, aka maintaining your muscle or building muscle mass, it is advised that you take them in conjunction with protein. Food sources that contain BCAAs are meat, dairy, and legumes. So when you dive into the study, what they say is that these do work. Branched chain amino acids help you synthesize your protein, but you have to take them in conjunction with actual protein. So a chicken breast, um, some legumes, some beans, dairy's listed there. So whatever dairy source, hemp milk. Woo, hemp milk is loaded with amino acids. So they're friends. You can think about that. That can be your takeaway from tonight is branch chain amino acids definitely benefit us, but the studies show it's in conjunction with protein. So my husband asked me a question when I was telling him about this, and he said, "Oh, so that means now there's going to be a whole other industry of companies pairing whey protein or pea protein with branch chain amino acids, right? Doesn't that make sense?" And I'm like, "Babe, I bet those already exist. I would think that those already exist." So I thought it would be helpful to take a look at a couple different kinds. Again, you guys are going to get this handout. So these are the ones I have. Branch chain amino acids by BioSteel. Okay, so you can see the building blocks of protein, which aid in muscle building. It shows the what's in it, just like I told you about. And then we go down to if you've ever heard of the brand Thorne. Thorne is a wonderful brand. They have very high-end products. They promote that their amino complex is good for metabolism. It's foundational for muscles and tendons. In fact, when we get to talking about the amino acids specifically, we're going to talk about which amino acids help with if you're recovering from a surgery, if you've had any trauma to your tissues. We're going to dive deep right into that too. So the Thorne amino complex has 20 amino acids. And it's a 2-to-1 ratio of branch chain amino acids. So if this has always looked like Japanese to you, now you know what it means. Okay, a 2-to-1 ratio of those 3 branch chain amino acids. And I have an interesting tidbit for you too on that. Okay, look at this. This Thorne amino acid, look what's in here. We've got our branch chains. We've got our leucine, our isoleucine, and our valine, right? We know those are BCAAs. We've got lysine, threonine, histidine, cysteine, phenylalanine. I never say that one right. Methionine, tyrosine, and tryptophan. What are you saying, Allie? I don't know what any of those things are, but you will. You will. We all know tryptophan. What holiday's coming up? Thanksgiving, right? Thanksgiving. What do we eat at Thanksgiving? Turkey. What does turkey have? Tryptophan. It's why we feel calm and sleepy. Okay. So the tryptophan in here is probably for a calming effect. And if you've ever heard companies say proprietary blend, right? This is our proprietary blend. It's because they've figured out the math. They've put the math together for these supplements. Okay. Third and final that we're going to look at. This is my favorite amino acid. I have been taking this amino acid daily for, I would say, 2 years. This is Amino 23. I've gone through like months where I don't take it because I run out and I just get too lazy and don't reorder it. But I would say off and on for 2 years. Amino 23, what this means is that it's delivered and effective in your body within 23 minutes. That's what the 23 is. This one is by Purium. And you can see it says Master Amino Acid Proprietary Blend. So they call it their MAP blend. And it's leucine, lysine, valine, isoleucine, phenylalanine, threonine, methionine, and tryptophan. Okay, so that's what's in this one. Their recommendation is 5 a day for this blend and to help with muscle synthesis, to help with, I was going to read this too, what it says. May aid in normalizing protein synthesis, helps minimize body fat, may assist with the stabilization or recovery of muscle strength, volume, and endurance. One review says, these are life-changing. I'm a plant-based bodybuilder. Being able to take these tablets and have the protein absorb into my muscles in 23 minutes is amazing. So this company in particular caters towards vegans and vegetarians. And this is another really cool fact about these. Super Amino 23 is pre-digested. 100% vegetarian protein that's been featured in, oh, it's featured, blah, blah, blah. 99% of the amino acids get utilized in 23 minutes or less, creating bigger muscles, more powerful workouts, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So if you have any questions on what kind, like I take a certain amino acid or what do you recommend, make sure you're jotting that down now. And we'll get to your questions in a bit. Everybody doing okay? Thumbs up. All right. Any burning questions that people have to jump on right this instant and ask? Okay. I'm looking at all your beautiful faces, making sure. Okay, great. We're going to keep going because it's a lot of information. Final thoughts on branched chain amino acids. In another study, Japanese researchers discovered that mice given isoleucine while eating a high fat diet gained significantly less fat than mice not getting supplemental isoleucine. Ooh, isoleucine sounds like something I would like to take. This was due to isoleucine's ability to activate receptors known as PPAR that increase fat burning and inhibit fat storage. PPAR works to increase the activity of genes that encourage greater fat burning in the body while decreasing activity of genes that normally increase fat storage. This leads to a greater ability to burn fat with less chance of storing it. A bodybuilder that I was reading about, Jim Stepani, he is a PhD in exercise physiology. He found in his research that the perfect ratio that you want of isoleucine is 2:1:1. So if you take anything, like if you take a 3:1:1, it doesn't have enough isoleucine. So he suggests that 2:1:1 to get the right amount of isoleucine is basically what he is recommending. You can do your own research. Again, everything we learned tonight is just educational. Okay, so how do we know if we're deficient in amino acids? A few things: apathy, lethargy, always tired, difficulty concentrating, loss of interest, insomnia. Those are some things. And here's something really important to note. We cannot restore the brain chemistry overnight by megadosing. So don't you dare, just start throwing down all the supplements, blah, 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 wasting your money. We're not going to do that. Okay? Don't do that. Deficiencies must be established first. We have to figure out what your deficiencies are, and then adequate amounts of amino acids, vitamins, and minerals can then be implemented. And here's the good news. A good amino acid program can usually begin to show changes in 21 days. So that's good news, right? Starting tomorrow or Monday, if you start taking your amino acids, it'd be really interesting if you kept a journal or a diary of how you were feeling over the course of those 21 days. Dr. Alan Gellenberg, Department of Psychiatry at Harvard Med, found the amino acid tyrosine to be more effective than antidepressants. Dr. Gellenberg noted that those with stress burnout and overload responded extremely well to tyrosine and B6. There's that B6 again, right? We know we've probably heard B12 for energy, but now we need to get that B6 in our brains as well. Tyrosine is the amino acid precursor of norepinephrine, adrenaline, and dopamine. I'm sorry, noradrenaline, adrenaline, and dopamine. Okay, so, that is a lot of information. This next part of the presentation, I'm just going to kind of scan so you guys can see. I have put together a visual, and I wanted to do this so that, again, you can print this at home. You can put it in a binder. And if you guys attend future wellness workshops with me, what I would recommend, print this, put them in a binder, label it your wellness workshop binder, and then you'll always have this information when you need it to reference, okay? So I tried to make it kind of cute and easy to read. We're going to go over the 13 non-essential amino acids that the body produces. Okay, here we go, the 13. Then we're going to go over the 10 that we get from food sources. That means we need to get these because the body doesn't produce them. Then we're going to go over the 3 conditionally essential amino acids, What does conditionally mean? Well, the body will produce them if we're not stressed. Okay, so we're going to jump into those. I'm going to stop sharing the screen just for 1 second. And I'm going to unpin my screen. And I know we said we're going to save questions till the end, but I'm going to check the chat and see if we got any questions. All right. No questions there. And it's totally okay if you guys don't have any questions right now, but I wanted to see all your beautiful faces again. Is there anything anybody wants to ask on branch chain amino acids, or are you feeling overwhelmed right now? Is there something you've always wanted to know about amino acids? Feel free to raise your hand right now or take yourself off mute. Okay. You guys are just here to learn. I love it. Perfect. All right. Well, go rehydrate, grab your tea, grab your water. We're diving back in. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Perfect. All right. So we're back, sharing the screen and jumping in. And once again, write down your questions or put them in the chat and we'll get to them after. Okay. So I'm going to try to breeze through these. Alanine, highest concentration in the muscles, alternative source of glucose during hypoglycemia, and for prostate health. Okay, so alanine, those are your 3 key takeaways. Alanine, the highest concentration is in the muscles, alternative source of glucose during hypoglycemia, and prostate health. So that's a good one for the guys. Asparagine, why did I put a picture of asparagus? Well, it plays a role in the urea cycle, and asparagus makes our pee stink, right? So that was kind of my little way for you to remember. Asparagine plays a role in the urea cycle, mostly found in animal proteins. It plays a role in the central nervous system, and it modulates leukemia. Wow, how amazing. Aspartic acid, required for mineral absorption, irregularities in the brain, cellular energy, stimulator of the thymus gland and immune system. And remember, everything we're talking about right now, the body produces. That smart body of ours knows what to do. Okay, so GABA. GABA is our chill out amino acid. Central nervous system benefits from it. It deals with stress, anxiety, panic attacks. We talked a lot about GABA when I was in class, and I picked myself up some GABA because I wanted some. So there's my GABA. And I wrote right at the top, anxiety and stress. A little pointer from me to you. As I'm learning about all of these things, amino acids, vitamins, minerals, and supplements, I'm writing on my bottles what they do, because that helps me. If my son has a sore throat, I got that down pretty good, but I'll write on colloidal silver for sore throats. So I kind of just, did we get to arginine yet? No, we're not there. Okay. Anyways, back to GABA. Anxiety, panic attacks. It's our chill out amino acid. Okay, glutamic acid. Glutamic acid. So as you're listening to this, guys, I want you to listen for keywords. What keywords go, oh, maybe that would be helpful to me. How can I look more into that? Glutamic acid, brain ammonia detoxifier, elevated levels found in schizophrenia, epilepsy, and gout. Protects against heart muscle deterioration. Ooh, glutamic acid, schizophrenia, epilepsy, heart muscle deterioration. That sounds pretty important. Glycine. Glycine sweetener. The body needs for formation of DNA, collagen, and phospholipids. It triggers the brain to speed up learning. It helps seizures and retinal function. And it's a heavy metal detox. Now, any little section you see with a star on it, there's only a few, means I want to tell you something really cool about that amino acid. So I'm going to flip to my book on glycine, and I want you to remember, well, there's a lot of information here, so we're all going to remember different things, but we already talked about remembering that B6. That's super important. Remembering GABA is for stress, anxiety. Here's a really cool thing about glycine. Okay. So, glycine is sweet to taste and can be used as a sweetener. The body needs glycine for the formation of DNA, collagen, phospholipids. We talked about that. Okay. So, glyphosate is in Roundup, and it hogs all of our cell receptors where glycine wants to get in. So, if you think of your cell receptor in your body, glyphosate that is sprayed on our foods, right, as a preservative, as Roundup, you've heard of Roundup, it starts to hog all those cell receptors. So when glycine's trying to get into our body, it's all gunked up in there. That's like my non-scientific way of explaining it to you. So, and the other thing is some smell sweet, so it tricks the body. It's like it's tricking the body that, oh, wait, is this glycine? Because glyphosate, I don't know if you've ever smelled Roundup, that it smells sweet, is what I've heard. I think we might even have a couple people on this call that could confirm that for us. But anyways, I wanted to point that out to you because oftentimes with our cell receptors, we have nutrients that are trying to get into our body, but they're being filled by other things that are tricking. And so we have to cleanse out or clean out those cell receptors in order for the good things to get in. So that was kind of just a little side note. But if you guys have any questions about that, you can write them down and we'll get to them later. All right, carnitine is another star. So I'm going to turn to that page and then I'll read that. Okay, carnitine. You can think of carnivore, right? Carnitine, synthesized from lysine and methionine in the liver, kidneys, and brain. The main source is from meat. So you can remember carnitine, carnivore, meat sources. Regulates fat metabolism and cardiac function. What did I want to read to you about carnitine? Eating the wrong kinds of fat and not enough carnitine equals trouble. Doctors tell us that high cholesterol is bad. Here's a pill to lower your cholesterol. This is very common in our world. But if we just switch to healthy fats and added carnitine, it might be a whole different story for our body. So it's just kind of thinking about fat in a different way, thinking about cholesterol in a different way. We know good kinds of fat, avocados or walnuts. I think it's wonderful that we don't live in a time now where fat is given such a bad name. I remember growing up, everything was the fat-free craze, but your brain needs the fat, right? So carnitine is an important part of that. Okay. Cysteine, stable form of cysteine. If vitamin C is not present, cysteine converts to cysteine, component of skeletal tissues, hair, keratin, and digestive enzymes. So we should be taking vitamin C as well, preferably from food sources, oranges, leafy greens. I have a chewable vitamin C that I take, and my kids also really like this one. I just recommended this one to my cousin too, because she was asking about how to get her kids to take more vitamin C for their immune system. So when you think of cysteine, think of bones. Yeah, cysteine. I always mix them up. Cysteine, cysteine. Okay, theanine. If you love green tea, congratulations. You are getting theanine. It is our feel-good amino for dopamine and serotonin. Dopamine's our pleasure center in our brain, and serotonin is our happy. It plays a role in the creation of GABA. It stimulates the production of alpha waves in the brain. Very important. There's actually a section of my book too that talks about, I think it was a Japanese researcher that discovered theanine from green tea. It's fascinating. Actually, theanine's a really great one if you're interested in that to research, because there's a lot of it's been around a long time. People have been researching it a long time. Tyrosine, made from phenylalanine, stress amino. Dr. Gellenberg is the one we talked about before. It's the most effective for antidepressants and depression. That tyrosine, super important. Serine, and there's a little old lady in a chair there. Why would there be a little old lady in a chair under serine? Synthesized from glycine with folic acid and B6, involved in DNA synthesis. Immunosuppressive, may be helpful for immune disease, and it enhances the function of the aging brain. It's recommended for Alzheimer's. Okay, that seems pretty important too, doesn't it? Serine. Now remember, we're talking about amino acids right now that the body produces, okay? So the body does produce serine, but are we getting enough serine? How do we know? Could we supplement serine? See how we feel? The answer is different for everyone, but again, just to have the knowledge. Ornithine. There's our muscle man. Ornithine, synthesized from arginine through the urea cycle, which, we talked about before was asparagine as well. Removes ammonia, wound healing, and liver regeneration. Athletes use this to stimulate muscle mass and decrease fat. Bodybuilders take 1,500 to 2,000 milligrams 2 times daily. So if anyone on this call or this Zoom is looking to be a bodybuilder, ornithine might be right up your alley. Proline or proline, ornithine, what we just talked about for muscles, and glutamic acid equal proline, required for the formation of collagen. And again, vitamin C must be present. So you can really start to get a picture, paint a picture of how important it is to also make sure we're getting vitamin C and our B vitamins from our food sources. So if you know someone or you are somebody that lives on fast food, it's not going to cut it. That's some tough love for you. It is not going to cut it. Knock it off. Start eating real food from the earth, and you will benefit tremendously from it. 10 essential amino acids from food sources. Okay, that food source is so important. Phenylalanine. I think I'm actually saying it right now. Phenylalanine, yes. Converts to tyrosine in the liver. Oh, what did we remember about tyrosine? Phenylalanine converts to tyrosine in the liver. What do we know about tyrosine? Why do we love tyrosine? Well, it's the most effective for antidepressant, for depression, right? It uplifts our mood. It's required for the formation of T4. Ooh, anybody have any thyroid issues? And it's an appetite suppressant. Feel like I remember growing up hearing about phenylalanine being in like diet pills, right? People abusing it for that purpose. But if it's something that is helpful to you, and you have a deficiency where you're always hungry and you need that appetite suppressant, it might be valuable to you. Valine, we talked about, it's a branched chain amino acid. That's why I put that BCAA for you. Muscle tissue repair. Alcohol and drug abuse. So for addicts, they very well might have a deficiency in valine. They need valine. They'll have to supplement valine. In trauma and burn patients for tissue repair. So when you think of valine, think of tissues. Okay, tissues. And then addicts. What I was reading about it, just the short amount that I was reading, is pretty much every person that has had a history, a long history of alcohol and drug abuse, will be deficient in valine. 309. Precursor to glycine, required for proper digestion, intestinal tract function, collagen, and tooth enamel. Vegans. Any vegans on the call or on the Zoom? Vegans are at high risk for threonine deficiency because there's low levels of threonine in veggies. Okay. So you may have to supplement, or we would have to look up for you how to get more threonine. Okay. It's proven helpful with MS and ALS. So threonine, if that's a hot button for you, if you hear the word MS or ALS and you go, oh, I should probably look more into that, and seeing the correlation between threonine and those things. Tryptophan, turkey, Thanksgiving coming up, breaks down into serotonin in our bodies. It's capable of passing the blood-brain barrier. B6 is needed to convert, and combining tryptophan with tyrosine in doses of 3,000 milligrams a day at bedtime can mimic the effects of antidepressants. So cool. Again, that tyrosine. I feel like we're really rooting for tyrosine on this call. Isoleucine, we already talked about isoleucine quite a bit. Again, it's a branched chain amino acid, blood sugar regulation, muscle development, repair, energy regulation. Chronic renal failure patients have severe deficiencies in isoleucine. Methionine. Methionine came on my radar recently because I had my mercury fillings taken out. Several weeks ago, I had 2 amalgams in my mouth from when I was a little girl. Back in the day, the fillings were called amalgam. They were made of mercury. And the mercury leaches into our bodies over a lifetime, over the course of having them in our bodies. And the best thing we can do is find a biological dentist to safely take them out. However, taking those amalgams out of our mouth means that we also have to take every precaution to take a binder that will bind to the toxins, that will bind to the metals and be able to get them out of our body. Methionine is one of those binders, okay? It's called a keloid. And if I'm saying that right. Yeah, a chelate. It chelates to the metal. So this is one that the dentist actually gave me. The dentist that I went to, Dr. Reggiani, if anyone's looking for a biological dentist to take out their mercury fillings. This has methionine in it. I don't even think you can see that, but I'm going to tell you what's in it to help get metal out of your body. N-acetylcysteine, which we haven't even talked about yet. N-acetylcysteine is an amino acid. L-methionine is an amino acid. Malic acid, cilantro, chlorella, garlic, zinc, vitamin C. This is like a powerhouse, man. I'm taking this every day, and I had to double down because I have got to get this mercury situation out of my body. I'm reading a book that also blew my mind. It's called The Detox Memoir, and it was written by the assistant principal at my kid's school, and he suffered from mercury toxicity for, I want to say 15 years, a really long time. And he figured out how to get it out of his body. That's a whole different call. That's a whole different share. But I am on this journey and I'm really excited about this journey. And I'd be more than happy to share it with you. So methionine is a sulfur containing amino acid good for detoxing. It lowers the histamines and it lowers excess histamine levels, usually present with heroin. Okay, another good one for drugs. It's an antioxidant and it protects us from radiation. Sounds pretty damn important, doesn't it? Sounds really important. Histidine. All right, what's that little picture? Histidine, required in large amounts in infants, necessary for maintenance of myelin sheath. All right, what the heck is myelin sheath? Some of you on this call are probably way more versed in myelin sheath than I am, but myelin sheath is what wraps around our nerves. Okay, so we have these nerves all over our bodies. And when the myelin sheath starts to unravel, a whole mess of things can happen in our bodies, okay? Like MS, like nerve disorders, autoimmune disease, things like that. So it's necessary for the maintenance of myelin sheath. We should be taking histidine. Sounds pretty important, right? But high histidine levels could also mean chronic pain, fibromyalgia, and psychological issues. So we want to be mindful as well. Oh, I just saw a chat pop up. Oh, gotta go, Allie. Perfect. Trish, thank you for being here, sister. Have a good day. Okay. Arginine. Arginine is our blood clotting amino acid. It builds muscle and enhances fat metabolism, prevents clotting, and it's our sexy amino acid. So if you think about it, blood flow, sexy amino acid, it helps keep things moving, right? You guys are going to laugh at me, and that's okay. But I told you I write on them and I put sexy amino. right, right on my amino acid bottle. Prevents clotting. What would be going on in the world that we want to prevent clotting? Hmm. Seems like it's a good one to know about. Arginine, right? Um, prevents clotting, sexy amino, and blood flow. Oh, and I wrote dementia on it too, which is not on there, but must be in the book. Okay, we're moving, guys. We're moving through. Leucine is another branched chain amino acid. You see nurse leucine there. Hello, nurse leucine. She's involved in energy production post surgery. Remember, I told you we were going to talk about amino acid that's good if you've just had surgery. Good for sepsis, trauma, diabetic regulation, and it stimulates insulin production and blood sugar regulation. Good for Parkinson's patients. That might be a key word for you, and has shown improvements for Parkinson's patients. So that's Aunt Lucy. Aunt Leucine. What about Uncle Lysine? Required for growth, tissue repair, production of hormones, enzymes, antibodies. Helps reduce herpes breakouts and stimulates absorption of calcium. Ooh, that's a good one too as we age. We need lysine to help absorb that calcium because we can take supplements all day long, but what if we're not absorbing them, right? That's a whole nother topic. All right, this is it. 3 more to go. And then we get to dive into your questions and your concerns and whatever else you guys want to talk about regarding amino acids. So, what is a conditional essential amino acid? I will remind you the body will produce it if we're not stressed. Well, that's the problem. We are stressed a lot. We live in a very stressful world. So, taurine, infants and children need to get from food or supplement. This is one of those amino acids that's recommended to take for infants and children. Even if your body does produce it, they need more. In the developing brain, taurine is 4 times that of an adult brain. Researchers found low taurine with seizure activity. It helps with tics. I lit up a little bit when I said that because I just was talking to a mom at school. Her daughter has tics. And I kind of went back to my memory bank and I went, I remember learning about an amino acid. And then the cool thing too is we can muscle test her daughter to see if possibly taurine could help with the tics. So there's all these different tools that can be exchanged with our amino acid toolbox. In the heart, it's the most concentrated amino acid. It modulates heart contractility and rhythm, and it's important for pets. I didn't know this. So to avoid degeneration of the retinas, give your pets organ meat or taurine powder. And this counts for cats or dogs or rabbits or whatever kind of pets you have. They need taurine for to avoid degeneration of the retina. I'm petting my dog as we're look at she's passed out. She's like, Mom, this is so boring and I miss grandma. Right, Charlie? Okay. Cysteine. And there's a little metal chart there. Cysteine is really important, guys. N-acetylcysteine is really important. N-acetylcysteine became a hot topic when a little thing called COVID arrived in 2020 because N-acetylcysteine assists with COVID. It's kind of a bold statement, but I feel like I have enough experience and knowledge to back that up. It's sulfur containing. It's present in almost all forms of protein. If vitamin C is not present, cysteine converts to cysteine. Heavy metals bind to cysteine to remove from the body. It protects against radiation. It's necessary for utilization of B6. And NAC, N-acetylcysteine is what NAC stands for, modulates the production of and is a precursor to glutathione. Who knows what glutathione is? Glutathione is the master antioxidant, okay? Glutathione is a master antioxidant. Okay, there's glutathione. And N-acetylcysteine is a precursor to glutathione. So they're friends, they help each other. N-acetylcysteine is also used to treat Tylenol poisoning. So again, talking about that binder, you overdose on Tylenol, obviously call a doctor, you know, that's first and foremost. But N-acetylcysteine will help bind to the Tylenol or to the toxin rather, or the metal, and help bring it out of the body to facilitate getting out of the body. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, last but not least, I think, yes, glutamine. Why would there be a piece of bread under glutamine? It's the third most abundant amino acid in the blood and brain. Its most important function is to strengthen the immune system, killing bacteria, healing wounds, and supporting glutathione. It's another support of our master antioxidant. It's good for systemic infection, sepsis, decrease 80% of glutamine supplementation. Oh, systemic infections like sepsis decrease 80% of glutamine. Yikes. That means we need to get it back in our bodies. Here's another, word that stands out that we want to pay attention to. In cancer patients, it enhances the effectiveness of chemo while reducing the damage of chemo. Helps heal the gut. Okay, that's where the bread comes in. Leaky gut syndrome. So if you have been diagnosed with celiac or you have a sensitivity to gluten, glutamine is your friend. Glutamine is a good one for you to consider and have and make sure you're getting. It's also a precursor to GABA. And I hope I get the number right when I say this. I think 75%, don't quote me on that, 75% of our immune system lives in our gut. We've got a huge chunk of our immune system in our gut. So gut health is super important. But there's a huge chunk of serotonin, that happy chemical in our body that also resides in the gut. Another reason we need to improve our gut health. So what happens if we've got leaky gut and we've had a lifetime of antibiotics or we've taken birth control pills, right? So many of us have walked down that road. Well, we're depleting all of that good bacteria in our gut, and we need things like glutamine to help rewire, to help strengthen that gut. Obviously, things like probiotics as well. I think I mentioned it's a precursor to GABA. It crosses the blood-brain barrier to increase energy and mental alertness, and then gluten intolerance could be a glutamine deficiency. Woo! We made it. We did it. And I'm actually really impressed because we did that in an hour. And I thought that was going to take us 90 minutes, and it didn't. So I'm going to stop sharing. And I can see all of y'all. All right, everyone can come off mute if you want. How's everyone feeling? That was a lot of information, yeah? Good. First, let's start with questions. And if you don't have any questions, that's okay too. Did anyone have questions that came up?
Okay, I want to know why, unfortunately, the vaxxers and kids, they're saying there's a country that doesn't vaccinate their kids. Or no, it's the Amish that don't vaccinate their kids. They did a study and there is not one ADHD child among them.
Mm-hmm.
No autism, no ADHD.
Among the Amish?
What are doing to the kids?
Yeah, I think I know the study you're talking about. I didn't read it fully, but I remember seeing it kind of pop up in the news that the Amish, what Diane is saying, there's an Amish population that have never vaccinated. That's what you're saying, Diane?
Correct.
And why they would never, not one of them have ADHD. Well,
or autism.
Yeah, I don't have the official answer, but I think our answer would lie in what's in the vaccines, such as possibly mercury or metals that could be causing some toxicity in the body. And those children that have received vaccines would benefit from chelators, things like charcoal or methionine that would help get the metal out of their bodies. Yes. So if the Amish have never vaccinated, that could be one of the reasons why they don't have to worry about detoxifying as much. That is my right off the gut answer to you, Diane. I do think it's something
I
to
collect.
consider.
So should most kids that have been vaccinated start a detox program right after that?
I think that it doesn't even have to be right after. The answer to your question is yes. I think that anytime we have any kind of medical intervention, it's a good idea to support the body with natural medicine. So, for example, if you have chemo, if that's a choice that you've made for yourself or you have to go down that road because you have a very aggressive cancer, what can we do to support the body through the process of chemo? Amino acids or apricot oil or this whole program that we could come up with to support you. So if your child has had vaccine and you've never heard the word vaccine damaged, or you have no idea why they developed tics or mood disorders, and you go, could it be from the vaccinations? I don't know. We'd have to get to the root of that. But it never hurts. It never hurts to detoxify the system and try to get out things like heavy metals. Gosh, I'm trying to think of another one right off the bat that would be in it, or toxins for children. I mean, parasites. We know, parasites could be another toxin to rid in the body, or an invader. Invader is a better word.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, if nobody else has a question, I've got another one.
Sure.
If the argonite prevents clotting,
Uh-huh.
are those in the shots that people get when they're hospitalized to stop blood clots from forming?
Gosh, that's such a great question. I have no idea. I have no
And
idea.
if not, they should be.
Yeah. I mean, it's all natural, right?
Right.
What's in the shots that people get to prevent clotting? That is a question we'll have to write down and look into.
Okay. I mean, there's several different things that they give you for it, but yeah.
Yeah. Good questions. Thank you. Perfect.
And why don't burn units use the Valine?
So again, I don't have the official answer, but you can't patent plants and you can't patent so oftentimes in Western medicine, the things you see in a hospital and the things you see in a medical setting have had paid for research, right? They've been patented. There's been thousands and thousands of dollars spent on researching, and they're scientifically founded, right? They're funded.
Well, isn't the Valine researched?
So
but it's not funded by.
it is. It is. I think it's it's a very in my experience, and anybody else can chime in on this if you want. I would love to have others chime in on this. Yes, Valine has been researched, and yes, it works, and you can even look up the studies. But it's at a different level. It's not a pharmaceutical drug. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not being funded
There's not a lot of money to
by
be
a
made
pharmaceutical company. Yeah. And I don't want to speak out of term and say the wrong thing, but that's where my initial answer would go to is I'm actually really happy to see Western medicine meeting Eastern medicine a lot more now. And a lot of integrative doctors and naturopaths will work together to come up with a sound plan to support the patient or the client on getting to the root cause and addressing it with natural supplementation, and even maybe weaning off of those medications in the meantime. So,
right, because the pharmaceuticals are just band-aids. They're not cures.
well, and we talked about that at the beginning, that even with a pharmaceutical medication for anxiety and depression, it's pulling your serotonin, your dopamine, because you need it, right? It's pulling it out for you and saying, here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go. But eventually it depletes it. So how can we restore our serotonin and our dopamine? How can we build a foundation to support that? And that's what's so eye-opening to me in school, is that I'll never ever bash because it doesn't do us any good to bash one aspect of medicine. They all have their place, right? But my eyes have been very open to that there's a much greater need to, why can't we start with the non-invasive and the all natural? Why can't we start there instead of doing the damage, right?
Right.
If you take Tylenol every single day for migraines and then it's not working anymore, so what do?
It's not good.
More, you take more, you take more, you take more. There's something wrong. We need to
Right.
address the cause of that, right?
Right.
And that even goes back to like the original Tylenol, I think it's willow bark, white willow bark.
Okay.
The original Tylenol came from a plant. And then what happened is a big company found out, well, if we extract the white willow bark and put it with our other proprietary blend and call it, whatever, Tylenol, that's what happened.
Okay. One more question.
You're fine.
All the things you went through, are those in one amino acid thing?
Oh, good question. Can you find a supplement with all the amino acids?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
Because
And
I
that,
know you said there's 10, there's 13, and there's 3. So it's like all those can be in one.
yes. Yeah, to answer your question, yes. This super amino 23 that I take every day does not have all of them in them. So I had to get other ones, which is why you see like the ones that I wrote on. But there are, I think Nature Sunshine has one. So the answer to your question is yes. And if you want me to recommend one, I can look into it for you.
Yeah, please. Please do.
No problem.
I'd like to hear somebody else's questions.
I know. I love all your questions, though. This is good, Di.
I'd just like to make a comment.
Sure, please.
Okay.
I just like to say, this really brings home the point of eating a really good, healthy diet, because, this points out everything that good quality protein gives to our bodies. And if we're eating good quality protein and reducing the things that are coming out of a package and eating quality fruits and vegetables, hopefully organic, then our bodies are getting nourished from the food that we're taking, and we don't have to put a lot of pills in our bodies. But just breaking down all the components of protein is really important for us to see, and how we can help ourselves by what we eat.
Oh, I agree.
Amen, sister.
Yeah. Diet is very, very important.
Well, and we could not agree with you more, but also Colette has a dietetics background, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nutrition. Yeah. I mean, it's so wonderful to have her as a resource. And even with kiddos, encouraging them why they should eat what they eat. What's in an orange? What's in tofu? Right? Talking to your littles about it. It matters. It absolutely matters. Yeah.
I see that doggy behind you wanting attention.
Look at her. Look at her face. She's such a baby. Thank you for that. Very good point, Colette, and we're so grateful to have your knowledge as well.
Well, I just think that's really good information. I like how you broke it all down.
Good.
And
Perfect.
good health does start with a good diet.
It really does. It really does. And when we flip it, when we stop thinking about it as, I can't have that Snickers, I can't have that burger, instead of thinking, if we can flip our thinking into, you know what, I want to make a choice that's going to give me more fuel, not going to rock my gut, I'm going to feel better the next day. It completely changes how you approach it, right? Like, I want to sit down and eat a bowl of fruit Now, once in a while, of course, it's nice to have a, indulge. Um, but I really think the key is flipping it around to I want to eat differently because it makes me feel so much better, you know? Whatever that means for you. For some of us, it's intermittent fasting and we don't eat our first meal till 1 p.m. because that's what makes us feel our best. And for others, it's you wake up first thing and you have a healthy breakfast and you get those healthy fats in the morning. That's why whenever anybody asks me, well, what eating plan should I follow? It's like, it depends. Depends on you and your makeup. But what we should all be following is what Colette said is the organic, healthy, nourishing, nutrient dense foods starting
Right,
with our
grass-fed
children, starting with
proteins,
our
stuff
children.
like
And she is, very attuned to our household and how we eat and how it's a struggle. Mamas struggle. Kids want Doritos. Kids want, kids want these things, and it's all about educating them.
that. Right, right, right.
Yeah.
Did you have a
If,
question, Dad?
yeah. If people could just get to 80-20, good intake versus fun food or whatever you'd call it,
Right.
it'd make a huge difference,
Mhm.
That's what I'm trying to do. And I had a question on, you said that we should have protein. I'm interested in the branch chain amino acids. And we should have protein with that, correct? You said?
Yeah,
So,
according to the study that I read.
okay, so my breakfast smoothie, for instance, which I have a lot in the morning, most mornings, I use plant-based protein powder in there. That should be sufficient protein. And then, do they have powder form I could buy of getting at least those three instead of capsules, or you
Yeah.
know, then I could just dump it in with that then?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. And I think that's a great idea. If you can put your branch chain amino acids right in with your protein shake, I think you're in good shape. And I mean, I'll send you some recommendations. But this is the one that we have. It's the BioSteel and it tastes like fruit punch.
Is that
I've
powder?
not done like diligent research on like if something says natural flavors, you know what I mean? Sometimes you go, "Ooh, what is
Well,
that?"
yeah, we see the word natural and we see,
Yeah.
you gotta be careful, you don't know what that means, but
But this one has, I'm kind of getting the light. This one has stevia leaf,
yeah,
which is,
this,
the better kind of sugar. Concentrated watermelon juice,
yeah,
beetroot, tart cherry juice,
oh, yeah.
coconut, coconut water, concentrated pomegranate. I mean, it looks like a pretty good one as far as they go, but I can help
So
you do some research on that.
that's a powder there,
Yeah,
then?
this is a
So you
powder. Oh,
scoop,
here, I'll
so
show you what it looks like.
yeah, you put it right in with water or whatever
Yep,
you're using. Yeah,
that's what
so I
actually
could
what
do,
that's actually what I'm drinking.
yeah, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just because I wanted to
So,
show you guys as an example.
yeah,
These, my amino 23s
pill form,
are pills.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you know what I read on Purium? I follow their blogs. I read you can actually put these in your smoothie and crunch them up. Something
Sure,
like that. So,
yeah, yeah,
um,
okay.
so
Mhm.
we always learn, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Good question.
thanks
Yeah.
for the answer, yeah.
Are you guys taking amino acids? Anyone on here taking amino acids?
Not yet.
No,
I used to.
but I definitely want to.
Yeah. Char, 9. Come here. Come here. Isn't it so interesting that I just think it's so interesting that until something is brought to our attention, it's like, yeah, why isn't that a part of our everyday regimen? Why are amino acids so important? I just never ever want to go down a road in any of my education sessions or in working with clients or family or friends where it's, well, here's a supplement for that, and here's a supplement for this, and we need this, we know that. It's like, no, let's really figure out what you do need. And I think for the sake of this conversation, starting with an amino acid that has all of them in it is only going to enhance your health. That's kind of the
Right.
bottom line, right?
Mhm.
And then if
Right.
you resonated with one of those key words, then we start to explore, well, maybe I should supplement this one a little bit more. I just have felt in this last year of my journey with school, my focus has completely shifted to how can I grow old? How can I age in a way that I am supporting my muscle mass, my bone mass, my collagen production? How can I move forward in life without relying on unnecessary interventions like Botox? And there's no judgment there. There's no judgment there, but it's not natural, right? You're putting things into your skin, and you're taking things, and you're doing unnatural things to your body. So how can we get back to natural, And it's just been such a fascinating journey of what works, and what works for one doesn't work for another, and just kind of tweaking it and following it. Anyways, little bit of a rabbit hole there, but any final questions or comments or thoughts?
I'm sorry, I do have one
Yeah,
more.
please.
Cholesterol. Anytime you're over 200 in cholesterol, your doctor wants you to go on these statins.
Mhm.
Now, I haven't had my cholesterol checked, so I don't know. But your brain needs the fat from the cholesterol.
Yeah.
So why do they give you these statins that take it away?
Rach, thanks for coming. If you have to go, so glad to have you on the call, sister. Okay, so again, I'm gonna have to go back to my memory bank, but as Diane said, cholesterol is incredibly important. Cholesterol protects our brain. Okay, our body creates its own cholesterol. We need cholesterol. And what happens is we go to the doctor, and there's been peer reviews and research and training for doctors to say, well, if you're over 220 or you're over 200, I don't even know what it is right now, you should be put on a drug so that we can lower your cholesterol. And unfortunately, in my training, and in my knowledge, that's going to make you worse off than better.
Yes.
So why are they doing it? Because they've been trained to do it, and because they believe that by taking a pill to reduce your cholesterol, that it's going to reduce your cholesterol, but at what detriment to your other organs? At what detriment to your, the other modalities of health,
Right.
Does anyone else want to speak on that? I don't know, Colette or Dad, if you have any knowledge on cholesterol.
Well, I mean, you could name a few factors in there. Western medicine, like you mentioned, pharmaceutical money making,
Hmm?
Yeah.
business.
It's all pharmaceutical.
I know, even if you could even say, well, sometimes good intent, it could be honest, good intent there, but that doesn't always work out, right?
Yeah.
And if it's causing more problems than not, they don't always look at that side of it. They dwell on the money making factor, so on and so forth. But
Right.
Well, sure. And any of those two follow the money. I mean, why are Pepsi and Coca-Cola still in business?
Oh, exactly.
That's a
Why?
very, I mean,
Because
how
America
can we,
buys it.
yeah,
If they quit buying it, it wouldn't be there anymore.
yeah, right.
why do they sell Roundup at Lowe's and Home Depot?
Right. It
How
was
are
just
they
so
allowed
upset.
to sell Roundup at Lowe's and Home Depot?
Yeah.
That's the key. That just kills me, you know.
Yeah.
Well, it will kill you. Yes.
Yeah, well, yeah,
It
literally.
will kill you.
But that's just
Exactly.
that's a major example. I think they banned Roundup in Europe. Maybe they're a little more ethical with, I think, I don't,
Well,
I hope so. I
he
hope
showed me
so.
something. Sorry, I didn't mean to overspeak somebody. I
No, you're
didn't know you were
fine.
gonna-
but Monsanto, it's such a moneymaker, and they lobby politically and everything else. So it's pretty sad, you know, I think.
Well,
Money is the
it is.
reason for so many things.
Yeah.
It is. And you know what? Every single one of us on this call, we can go out and be the hope of it. That's the thing. If we can educate one person, we're not gonna single-handedly take down Monsanto or PepsiCo or whatever. But
Yeah.
if you go out and tell 5 friends to tell their kids why red number 40 is bad, and those 5 kids stop eating red number 40, that's a win. You know what I mean? If you start buying only organic produce because you yourself don't want your family to receive those toxins, that's a win. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can get so overwhelmed in the world of health that it's like, screw it, I'm just going to throw in the towel. You know what I mean? But no, I'm not going to do that.
Tia showed me food items from another country versus the United States. And
Yeah.
the United States adds so many more ingredients. It's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. Money.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they're trying to bump us off one at a time.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chelsea. Thanks for being here, girlfriend. If you need to step off, we're glad we got to meet your girls. Yeah, no, I hear you, Di. And that's why we spread this knowledge. We learn more and we do what we can.
Okay, well, this was fun.
Okay, yeah. Well, thank you guys for being here. I will follow up with you, Dad, on an amino acid. Well, I think it was Diane. You wanted the amino acid. Well,
Right,
you know what? Just text me. Text me with your question so that I can circle back with you.
Yeah, I do too. I'll text you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Have a good night,
Sounds
guys.
good.
Thank you.
Okay, you too.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Education.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.